Hello, hello, I am Rangru.
And I'm Graham.
We're here today with another 1v1 from the Wargame Bootcamp Tournament Elite Tournament. We're on a punch bowl, people are punching it out. Who are those people, Graham?
So, Rain, the two guys stepping into the ring today. In the left-hand side, we have Blitzwar in the blue playing as the United States of America. And then on the right, we have Mr. Ghosty playing as the USSR. So it's a nice little Cold War matchup.
Yeah, this is classic Coldwar. Fantastic matchup. General decks, we're going to see all the super units being in play. And right off the bat, we got an opening longbow and an opening MLD in KA-52. This is about as like USSR, USA you can get.
Yeah, this DAP actually... Oh, it dodged a couple
Oh.
of these missiles here. The K-52, though, does get it. Not that I think the DAP... I mean, really was... It was trying to, like, shield off those MTVs. You know, MTV decided to deploy itself hot in the name of the Soviet Union. So those are going in there in northern portion of Charlie. Blitz is going to actually have to stop that because the MLD K-52 combo just obliterated that poor Black Hawk.
Yeah, yeah. But the longbow down south. I'm actually surprised he brought that down south. That's not
Yes.
really an area it'd be useful. You want to bring it more into Bravo where things are a bit more out in the open. But probably good for him as he did avoid the MLD from blowing up his booty hole.
Yeah, that is true because the longbow is a huge investment of points this early on in the game, along with he has the Recon Cobra. But what's interesting, I agree with you. Like, if the main focus of Ghosty is going to be Charlie, which is to be expected at this level of play. You know, sometimes at lower levels, Rang, the Foxtrot Echo becomes the kind of like centerpiece. But at this type of high level, you know Ghosty's going for the town up there in Charlie.
Yeah, we've seen so many matches where people bring in the music television video combo with the Gornus Drecklys up north because it's a perfect environment. The MI8 can, provide good fire support. It's hard to get anti-aircraft weapons nearby, and the Gornos with their mid-range, high-damage ATGMs are in perfect geographical position to just ward off any armor play.
Yeah, and music television going pretty hard up there. We saw them annihilate those light riflemen. The S-13s, once again, just proving it's just a nasty helicopter. So, really strong play so far from Mr. Ghosty here in the opening. You really want to consolidate that northern portion of Charlie if you're from his perspective. We see VDV probably coming up, the base OSAs, which I love. I'm surprised he doesn't have them grouped together. Typically, you see players just leave them as a kind of like, a singular group with two. But BTR 90s, Strokey 90 are going to be really difficult to uproot because the Metis M, while it doesn't have the, the sexy range of like a Conquerors, it has the sexy 26 AP.
Yeah, it will just completely annihilate tanks, and there's not really any long-range areas in Charlie
three
to
A
use
pieces.
the full. Oh, Nighthawk coming in. We're just seeing all the super stuff being brought in right off the bat, using it as seed.
And it succeeded massively right there, obliterating those two poor OSAs like it was Iraq in 1991. And we do see 3 more AA pieces bought out here by Mr. Ghosty, recognizing that Blitzwar, it's very common, Rang, for American players to dip into the super air tab.
Yeah, because the Nighthawk, especially if you can buy it early on, can provide a lot of values in 1v1s. Especially if you're knocking out anti-aircraft pieces like that. And if you don't really take any damage on the gun run or the bombing run, the reload is fairly fast.
Yeah, and actually, we saw the Screzzer right there engage the longbow. It does die, but it stuns it, taking off 2 HP. And Ghosty's going to buy right into that, I think. He's going to try, if he loses the MiG-23, but it kills the longbow, it's worth it. But the Patriot is up, and we see it. Oh, the first shot does miss. Second shot coming out, and as the MLD goes for a run, all it needs is 2 hit. Oh, it survives on 1 HP, and then got obliterated right there by the Patriot.
Yeah, very lucky for Longbow. Yeah, he needs to get that thing out of dodge, because he has not really been able to utilize that effectively, which is always a problem, seeing people open up with the longbow, because it's usually not heavy target to deal with at start of most matches, and then you just have 150 points blowing up APCs.
That's why the K-52 opener is, I think, superior. The longbow just, everyone's seen a game where a longbow annihilates somebody's poor tanks on, Bloody Ridge, but in reality, at the upper levels of competitive play in Wargame Red Dragon, it just really is hard to get utility out of it. Whereas like a K-52, it only has anti-radar missiles, so it can pop an AA piece that tries to get too close to it, with radar obviously. It has the Iglas, and so having your Iglas attached to it, you neutralize helos. I mean, everyone's seen a K-52 shoot down a plane, which is just infuriating if you're the opponent. But it has I think it just provides so much more utility than the longbow in a competitive sense.
Yeah, especially the stealth gives it that extra survivability
Right,
and that opening anti-helicopter engagement, which a Ka-52 just rule. And the recon optics, it's such a good opening helicopter to get because it just has everything you need apart from blowing up tanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we see both players who kind of duking it out. AA's trying to be brought up here by Mr. Ghosty, but that Nighthawk, Nighthawk's actually going deep, and it's going to go near 3 OSAs and the Tor. He needs to be, okay, no, he's not. No, he's cutting it off for the GRU.
Yeah, he's just getting some easy picks.
I swear he was going
fast
deep.
Reload. It's like, I believe it's like a 2-minute reload or something. I don't know the exact numbers, but still.
You're really close to that. Yeah, it's right around that range, and it's like you said, when you bring out the Nighthawk early, you're kind of setting the tone as the US player. Now, on the flip side, it does let your opponent know, hey, 150 points were just dumped into an airplane. So it gives you some flexibility, but both players here going for a quick CV, relatively quick, 7 minutes, almost 7 minutes, and to their 2-pointers, which is very standard. Blitzwar is kind of consolidating the middle area here, Bravo, which is smart because it's very natural for someone from Ghosty's position, once they have the northern town locked down, to engage Bravo.
Yeah, because it just gives you good geographical advantage to push down onto that town from Doubt. And as you can see, it's just like he's using Factoria spam, he's got some Spetsnazes, just doing some like pushes. What do you see?
I missed this. Ghosty buying double CV, so K-29 infantry CV along with BRDM2. So he's going for the Delta Charlie combo here, which will get him a consistent +2 because of the neutralization that's going to happen here in Charlie, which is actually a pretty big deal on this map. It's going to tell Blitzwar he needs to kick it into gear. Now, he can kind of neutralize that by capping Echo Foxtrot, but the problem, obviously, Rang, is that that's 200 points through the job that Ghosty's going to do for roughly 100-ish.
Yeah, just neutralizing Charlie from Ghosty's perspective is so cost effective, and it's usually a good idea trying to get his CV up here sooner rather than later, because it's usually a position which does not hold the entirety of the match. But if you can just hold it for 5 minutes, that's a huge points lead.
Yeah, typically that's all that you need in these games. If you can neutralize your opponent's 2-point sector for about a 5-minute period, sometimes less, sometimes more, but roughly I think that's a good basis to operate from. You are going to win the game because most of these 1v1 maps don't have multiple 2-point sectors that are readily accessible to you. So it's just really smart play. Blitzwar actually told this to me one time, I was playing in his 1v1 tournament, and I was going for the 2-point sector, and I got, it didn't quite work out for me, and so I ended up going to Bravo. He's like, Graham, you need to stick with the plan. And so I imagine he's going to, if I'm him, you need to collapse on Charlie quickly. Like, don't allow this to get out of control. The problem is that there's Factoria's ranked, there's Gonostrelki, there's MI8s, there's VDV rolling around back there. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be quite difficult, especially base USA, because, neither side has fantastic infantry tabs, but the Russians do get a bit of an advantage with the VDV spam.
Yeah, VDV are nasty. I also a big fan of Factorias. I mean, another big reason I prefer Soviets. My T-72 has 4 AHE versus my M1 Abrams, which has 3. There's small little things that I believe make the Soviets actually a better 1v1 deck. It's why I'm one of the opinion that NORAD's superior than just base USA.
It is.
So this is going to be difficult here. I mean, the Skrezit, that's super annoying to deal with. Oh, these VDV just getting annihilated, though, by the Cobra here. Oh, my God. The Cobra going in hot. He says, I ain't got no chill, bro. But the Skrezits are going to engage it along with the K-52. And the Rip Cobra.
Yeah, but it does manage to clear a decent path to actually secure at least the ridge line of Charlie. So it gives him a decent defensive position. Skrezit,
Nighthawk.
They don't have chill.
Yeah, Nighthawk going in, and actually OSAs are in a bad position here to deal with the Nighthawk. And like you talked about too, but a missed guess here by the Nighthawk. I see why Blitzwar bombed there, but I think that was maybe a little too cheeky on his part, thinking that he could guess Ghosty CV placement.
Yeah, it's a very risky maneuver, but to be fair, this is Blitzwar as well. That's definitely within his playstyle. But he's also got Emron Abrams and Charlie into a very nice spot. Going to be forcing some Factoria fire. Here's Ray. But doing a decent job at least slowing down infantry reinforcements. So of course with Charlie pushing it, like one of the reasons you never really hold it is you get into this situation where Charlie is now the shortcut. It's been cut off from Blitzwar, and now you have to go all the way around, go with a bit of a drive about just to get into the bloody point, and that's pretty impossible.
Yeah, 100%, and we see him buying double mortar here. The longbow's in position, though he needs to be very careful with the longbow. There's a Tor out. Me and you were just talking about the Tor before we started the match. There's Osas, but M1 spam here I don't think is a bad idea.
Look at Gof.
The V150. He's gone way back there. Now, there is base defense here by Ghosty, a Skreza along with Factoria. But if he could spot it, Nighthawk deep, hey, you know what I mean? Bring up the Iraq comparisons once again, just, command and control off the get-go. We'll see. There's an Osa, but base Osa by itself, the 35% accuracy, you just don't trust it. That's why you bring two of them together.
Yeah, you got to have them in groups because it says following with firepower. And also it just kind of has... it's like the stupid, Factoria, cheap ATGM effects. It's, oh my god, there's so many missiles coming towards my aircraft. They must have, a crazy anti-aircraft net. Even though it's just a bunch of baseline Osas.
Yeah, 100%. One thing I do like up north, though, is the Gona Shrelky were spotted by the Rangers there and the M13 kind of pinning them together. And that's why a reason why you're going to see a quad stack of riflemen coming out here from Blitzwar. Not only are they cheap, but it's going to help him spot these ATGMs. And because of the range of the Gona Shrelky, the Abrams will be able to have an angle which they can abuse that infantry. This in the Factoria, you're really not worried about it front on engaging your Abrams. It's not meant to really kill those tanks. It's just kind of just meant to dissuade. And we see it up here right here. The M1 Abrams just face tanking these Factorias. Now, it cannot face tank too many Ghost Rocky shots for the metas.
No. Quite a different bit of firepower here. Factoria is going to be taking damage. Reduce the longbow up and about, but once again, there's no targets.
Yeah, Factory goes down. Nighthawk here should obliterate these Gona Shrelky. Nice shot there by the Gona Shrelky to get the M1 Abrams, but half of the Gona Shrelky are down, and this position is now compromised, like you said, Rang. Though Mr. Ghosty's launching a full-scale kind of counterattack from Delta into the gap towards Charlie, which is pretty strong here. We see 3 T-72As along with infantry and IFE support.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty strong push. I mean, the Rangers may be enough to just clear things out. Osa's fast moving a little bit too fast, but do get into range.
Yeah, but it's not going to get the kill there. Yeah, no. It's going to miss. It was hit, though, I think. Something hit that longbow. Was it the Osa?
No, it's something else. Both missiles missed.
Yeah, because the Osa also has 7 HE. It's not doing only 2 HP of damage, but it's the longbow.
This isn't Warno.
No, this is not Warno, thank God. But the Rangers have dived in here. They're going to go ahead and kill these or they might kill the Factorias up here. And Mr. Ghosty's, plan with this consistent +1, at least for a while, should be coming to an end relatively soon. But on the flip side, Rang, 160+ point lead on this map is quite substantial.
Yeah, and the CV is going to survive for a little bit longer. The KA is coming in clutch.
Avenger. Yeah, the Avenger going in ham here along with the longbow. There's no AA up here in support, but the K-52 trying to get in range. Oh, and the Avenger goes down, but there is a Shap. So the K-52 needs to be careful because the Shap is one of the premier anti-helicopter AA pieces in the game. Yeah, look at the MI8 just tanking these rounds here from the Shap.
To give the K-52 ample time to get out of dodge, so he has not realized the Shap is, completely blapping. And honestly, Blitzwar's done a very good job containing his push so far.
Yeah, excellent defense here by Blitzwar, using his, high technology assets to really demolish this Soviet push. I mean, multiple T-72As already dead, IFEs, APCs dead. The longbow's probably paid itself off now, or at least it's very close.
Yeah, Blitzwar hasn't been super aggressive with his super heavy stuff. The Nighthawk has just been going for very safe snipes. He hasn't been, rushing it right down the center to snipe the Ghost CV. But it is, long term, it will pay off.
Yeah, the one thing I think Blitzwar needs to do is get his armor engaged. Obviously, he's repairing it right now, so... Oh, he's got an M8 out there. I'm actually a big fan of the M8. While Mr. Ghosty has not been idle, this push is kind of, I think, losing a little bit of steam. It's taking heavy losses, but there's a reinforcement dump of VDV and Skrezets coming along with Motostrelki and the MTLB. And at the same time, he's gotten a position inside Bravo with VDV and Spetsnaz group. So, Mr. Ghosty is staying very active even while sustaining some casualties, and he still has his CV alive.
Yeah, so he's doing a pretty good job. He just needs to race time in Charlie, really.
The Cobra about to just annihilate the Hydra, rockets, just yeah. Oh, K-52 going backline.
Oh, he's almost out of fuel.
Oh yeah, he might not even make it. I would say K-52 backline here might be able to dive into Alpha and get the longbow, but he won't make it there.
Yeah.
Or I don't think he will.
I wonder what happens if it runs out of fuel right on top of the mountain, because there's no, like, eligible place to land for...
I don't know.
Quite
Does it crash?
That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, that'd be really funny if it just crashes. Now he's going this backside here, which is kind of dangerous because there is a Shat back there, along with the Patriot. Obviously, the Patriot cannot kill the helicopter, but the Shat is back there. Oh, and the Cobra spots it. The Cobra sees this K-52. So I don't know if I'd want to keep pushing the Cobra here. Yeah, the Eagle's about to just annihilate this poor dude. Yeah, just tank that shot right there. Next one, yeah, dead.
And I guess also the problem, apart from like the A-10, there's not a whole lot of cheap like planes to get out just to blap his KF-52 as he's overextended here.
No, yeah, there's really nothing in his deck that's good at dealing with that. While at the same time, Mr. Ghosty is just pumping in more and more reinforcements here. More Spetsnaz are coming, more Motostrelki. This is a lot of points, a lot of helicopters at the same time. I'm actually a little worried for Blitz here. He's gone for a CV up approach where he's put one in Echo, put one in Foxtrot. He's got one coming for Bravo. And while he needs to get some points going in his direction, he's really on the backside of the units here.
Yeah, because the problem with fighting the Soviets so close in Charlie, first off, T-72s, autoloaders, 4HE, but also just the quality of infantry for Ghosty really goes a long way. Unless Blitzwar bringing in entire companies worth of riflemen to just like run into a bunch of RPK fire, he's not going to be winning these infantry fights.
Yeah, 100%. I think, as this game has gotten into, its advanced years, we kind of, like, look back at the Yugoslav days, the Entente days, Israel, we think of the other decks, but the Soviet Union is still Soviet General is still one of the best, if not the best deck in the game. It has so many different tools available to it, and while the infantry tab, you could argue, is a little lacking, I mean, VDV-90 are great, they have amazing APC, IFE, options, and they just have so much support firepower that complement its unit composition really well.
Yeah, honestly, if they were, let's say Soviets were like a DLC division, everyone would be complaining about how bullshit the KA-52 is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It'd be like, oh, it's 100%. Out of time frame. Oh, it's bullshit having a stealth helicopter of like seed missiles.
Yeah.
But because it's a baseline unit, it's been in the game for like almost a decade now, we're fine with it.
Well, yeah, because that goes to the larger argument of gaming is that you paid base price to get it, right? Mm-hmm. And it came at the beginning, so it allowed players adaptation, whereas, like, it wasn't 6 years down the road where,
It's a Zelda.
Yes, it's a Zelda, right? It's not as blatant in its, because there's no power grab there, yeah. It started the game. Oh, the Shap here. The Shaft needs to come in clutch. These M113 is getting shot up here by these MIA and K-29. Two of the best, I think, standard choppers you can get in the game. They're a nasty combo. I mean, we saw the Grape Jelly Man using them to great effect multiple times here.
Yeah.
Though, you don't want to lose all your helicopters kind of like that, but they've done a lot of damage, so,
And it is gaining him the territory. Because he's almost cleared out Charlie. I'm very surprised. Like, Blitzwar
the TACOMs here are basically at the front line. M1 Abrams need to do some work. Now, the BV's down on 1 HP, but the Gru's going to get a side shot here with its RPG-26. And it may not be an RPG-29, but it's still pretty nasty. Yeah, forcing back both Abrams. Yeah, Blitz is in big trouble here.
Yeah, because if you completely lose Charlie, that's sort of the match done and done. Because that's enough. That's a +2 sector completely lost. And there we go.
Yeah, which is going to give a +1 here for Mr. Ghosty, and this is just something Blitz cannot afford right now. He's gonna need something else to get him in this game, I think, because as of right now, Mr. Ghosty has the ball rolling, momentum is on his side, and I really don't see it's gonna be hard. We see these M1 Abrams. I mean, M1 Abrams in a dream, I guess, but there goes T-72 Motostrelki, the BV coming in here for a side shot, getting it along with more Spetsnaz, and the BTR-80As coming up as well, just nasty.
Yeah, there's just so many quality units in the front line here for the Soviets. Not too much in numbers, I mean, taking heavy casualties, but it's been enough to gain a geographical objective, which is good enough. For Blitzwar, at least, he has that one really slight position on the edge of Charlie.
Oh, the Jurgen now firing.
Oh.
Yeah, nasty here from Mr. Ghosty, dumping into the Jurgen, which could be a game-killing move here. He knows the CV can only be in this area. It's probably infantry or light armored. And yeah, let's see if he can get a direct shot. I mean, even not, he puts the attack on me. Oh, no, he did. Yeah, he obliterated. Those 5 dudes are gone. Gonna start getting killed in the mortar. Yeah, big blap. Like the Legion when the Katusha started dropping at the end, and Dien Bien Phu just absolutely nasty. The Delta Force trying to go in here. But, I mean, Blitzwar's got to get some momentum going here. Charlie's his only option unless he gets a rear line CV snipe. The Nighthawk actually going in deep. Oh, the Jurgen wasn't moved. It just got obliterated.
Whoa.
I mean, that's sexy. That was hot. But on the flip side, how does it get him back in the game?
Dude, that's some Redstone Rising shit. Let's go.
Yes. Yeah, that was really fucking cool to watch right there. The Nighthawk basically saying, you know, F Soviet air defense. I don't care. You know, the Frisbees from Dreamland. IRL. Yeah.
The F-19.
The longbow almost hit the Tor. Was that intentional? The Tor's blink. I don't know how, but that missile came close. Like, that was right by the Tor.
The Hellfire was, like, sniffing him like a bulldog.
Yeah, and the Tor is a hard counter to the longbow. These Spetsnaz GRU trying to push back these Abrams. This is where the downside of like using Spetsnaz GRU versus VDV, because the RPG 26 just doesn't. It's just not an RPG 29.
Yeah, the GRU are pretty good at like infantry fights, especially if the Dragunov, because I can get some very like sneaky stuns here. You can get the Delta Force doing good, but Emerald Abrams coming in pretty clutch. Longbow actually getting in some cannon runs. Yeah, bit dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous, but Blitz is a little desperate here. Like, something needs to happen, because while Ghosty's taking some losses, pushing into Charlie, he has a very strong push, kind of starting to develop, you know, towards the Bravo area. There's BTR 90s, he has infantry, there's more the TMCs are going to Charlie, okay. I thought he might get a little more aggressive into Bravo, because he could. If you're Ghosty now flexing the field here, the V-150 was spotted, and yeah, now Ghosty going to move his BRDM2 just in case.
When the Scratchit's gonna relocate to deal with him.
Yeah.
Look at Ghosty's like, I know there's someone else in my back line.
Yo, my man hoarding some points right now.
Yeah.
He's floating. we'll float. I wish you could show us like how many points the players have.
If only Eugene actually developed, especially if their new hit game Warno, better like replay information tools. Even Company of Heroes has pretty good replay information.
Yeah, though is Company Heroes 3 still alive? Is that
no? It's in a pretty bad state. Last time.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay, wham, rip.
I know.
Pour one out. 2 was kind of cool. I never got like super into it.
2 was cool.
It was a cool game. Yeah, speaking of hit games like Warno, as we see the front is kind of stabilizing now. I mean, Mr. Ghosty has all the momentum. Sure, he lost his Jurgen, but in reality, he's in the driver's seat of this game, both by points and by units on the field. So Blitzwar has a really tough task ahead of him. Obviously, he's the mean king. He's OP, but I don't know. This is going to be really difficult.
Yeah, honestly, I'm thinking from his perspective, maybe you just go for the full meme route. You go from Bravo and attack into Delta.
Foxtrot to golf.
There we go. Just down the road. Honestly, this sort of player would be much better for him rather than fighting the CQC hell of Charlie, because then he could utilize his longbow much more effectively.
Yeah, the problem with the longbow is just that the Soviets have so many counters to it. You know, this isn't... I'm trying to think of a deck, like, off the top of my head that just sucks against the longbow.
Say Israel? Maybe the
Israelis. But the Israelis have good fighter options. But you're right. Like, yeah, the Israelis, I guess, on a base level, they would suffer the most. But then again, they have other things to irritate you with. So, oh, this Nighthawk going deep right here.
What is he trying to go for? He's doing CV snipe.
Is he gonna get it? He might get it.
The Frisbees from Dreamland.
Yeah, they dived in right in there. So that's gonna get him a +1, and he actually really needed that. If he can get his CV in here, which he will, because he's kind of created a little cordon, you know, for him to operate from, especially with the Jurgen dead, there won't be any major AoE hitting this area, because that's all Mr. Ghosty has. This is going to get him a +3. Now, this won't be a long +3. Maybe 30 seconds to a minute max. But it might be enough to put him in a position where a +1 could get him back in the game.
Yeah, honestly, a good little pick-me-up here from Blitzwar. And he's actually got a good offensive now going on in Charlie, because that also forced Ghosty to spend 100 points on the CV.
Oh, the Osa's got clapped by the longbow. Longbow took a hit.
Oh.
But
there's 2 longbows.
Yeah, there's 2 now, so if he rotates them properly, they're just going to be really net. Where's the other one at? There's
Down
the middle
south
of
from
them.
Bravo.
Now, Ghosty making the smart move, though, by counterattacking into Bravo here. He's going to force some level of reinforcement by Blitz. I think the small teams are probably the smart move here. Just put a couple small teams to screen in front of those light riflemen, and that should buy you a lot of time, because putting a CV into Bravo with what the options that Ghosty has will be difficult.
Yeah.
Well, the M1 Abrams here trying to engage T-72s does get it here. The problem with this is why I'm not a big USA fan. Like, my 55-point T-72 has 14 AP and 4 HE, and it's sure range, and there's other issues with it, but when it comes to like cheap infantry support, forest fighting, it's really hard to beat the base T-72s.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, or at least it just got annihilated. So there I go.
My main problem with base USA is not having like proper ATGM infantry. Yeah. I want my 10-point ATGM infantry, goddammit. I'm not going to be happy until I have them in my deck.
Or on the flip side, one thing I like with the Canadians, you get the Erics. So you can bring, instead of light riflemen, I can bring Canadian airborne. Or Canadian riflemen. Right?
Yeah, Canadian airborne. Because you basically, the whole point of NORAD is you're getting it for the Canadian infantry to supplement your rifleman spam. Because the Canadian airborne are pretty good shock troops. Highlanders, budget legion.
Highlanders have the Highlanders have the Eric. Yeah, I'm confusing all my Canadian infantry units.
Or you could get the baseline Erics, which can also, like the small team run, which can also shoot infantry, which is hilarious.
It's wild watching it do it, but if they're like in the open, obviously, or in the forest, they're really not that good. But in a town, they're nasty. Yeah. Oh, did you take a side shot? Speaking of nasty, from the shaft there, but there's 2 of them. He's obviously using this to screen the Patriot, I think, to a large extent, having double of them. Ooh, what's the Tor aiming at? Okay, so the Tor is a critical here. Can the Tor get a shot into this Nighthawk, do some damage? Nighthawk going in. Oh, has he judged where the CV is?
No.
No, he's going to miss it, but he forces it out. But he knows it's... Oh, when the Nighthawk does go down, it was a Chad this whole game. Definitely paid for itself. But I have a feeling it was a primary reason Blitzwar was getting back in this game, and its death is going to be felt.
Yeah, because Blitz was doing some really good and rather cheeky CV snipes.
Shap going down to a Gonostrovsky there.
But now he's relegated to just a +1, which at 12 minutes, it's possible, but Bravo's going to get decapped at some point.
Yeah, Combat's doing some nice job trying to get these spreads, but unfortunately unable to, and the BV coming in, cleaning it up there. Yeah, Blitz is in a kind of a tough spot, but the problem with the decapping of Bravo, it's going to take some time, it's going to take some points, and you're going to know exactly where it's at. So there's a decent amount of small teams here. I'm not convinced Ghost is going to go for that. I think he's just going to try and continue to power his way through Charlie. With the loss of the Shap here, I mean, look how advanced this MI8 is here. If Blitzwar just puts this Avenger up just a little bit, it's flapping it. Hello?
Yeah. It's yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, you cut out for a second. The KA-52s. Oh, that's no problem. Because it's just, such a good offensive force to keep those longbows ready. Apart from that Nighthawk going down, both sides have done a very good job keeping their super heavy units alive. Because KA-52's getting maybe a little bit too close.
Yeah, absolutely. It's he's being very aggressive with it, but he popped the Shap, so he doesn't really fear any AA. Charter was trying to take me down, Rangru.
I can tell. First it's the Reva, now it's the internet.
America internet on the ropes.
Yeah, so honestly, same thing in Canada. It's complete dog shit here.
Yeah, believe it. You pay all this money for internet, then they just they regularly dick you over.
Daylight robbery, man.
It is, bro. It is. And same with daylight robbery. Blitzwar is just on the back end. It's kind of being held hostage here in Charlie. And it's just. He's done such a good job of getting this game close, but I worry about cost, momentum, all these things that we talked about 10 minutes ago. I think they're still in play, even though he's now under 40 points away.
Because this is such a good force here. Just all the Soviet units are all absolute shads. The VDV-90 is going to be very hard to deal with. And it's just a very effective death ball of a bunch of angry Russians. And that Humvee CV probably has 30 seconds to live.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this bonus Strelky and VDV-90 here, they're going to push up. The helicopters have all been pushed back, besides the 1K-52. But the CVs have to evacuate the dance floor. I mean, it is alive, but the minute he moves it, the +1 starts for Mr. Ghosty, which just really puts him in a bind. I mean, a Thunderbolt's coming out here, which could be sexy, but there is a Tor.
Yeah, and even then, if he kills like T-64, he still has to deal with all the infantry.
I think T-64 is dead no matter what. Oh yeah, she black.
Yeah, can he be the seed plane he wants to be?
If it was SU-25T, I would believe.
Yeah.
Oh, Tor missing multiple shots here. Only one round left for the Tor. One missile. Excuse me. Oh, the Thunderbolt is in mega danger. The Tor needs to miss this for him to live here. I think the Tor's going to get him. Oh, it hits him down to 1 HP. Tor out of ammo. Oh, but there's immediate resupply.
That's because of the A-10 having the 2 armor on the front and the back. Like, it's a big micro play with top-tier players, where they will purposely make sure when the missile comes towards the A-10 to try to turn either into or directly away from the missile, so it hits a 2 armor spot.
Yeah, and Mr. Ghosty here is going for the killing blow. He recognizes there's not much left in Bravo. I mean, a lot of helicopters for Mr. Ghosty, no doubt. But, I mean, there's no counter to him. There's been nothing out. The Shap was dead. There's no Avengers, no Stinger teams. This is actually, like, for me, like, PTSD. Why do I always almost have a Stinger infantry squad in one of my decks? Because just even one in this town in Bravo probably stops this push, or at least really delays this helo attack.
Because not having, like, cheap anti-air can really screw you over. And I mean, yeah, like, Avengers are okay, but it's not super cheap. And not having, like, the nice thing, the man patch, you can hide it. They're very good at just ambush prey.
Yeah, just ambushing, and then you don't know where multiple of them are at. And now, like, this Longbow's in danger, and the Patriot's in danger. Funny enough, why can't he just launch that missile into a helicopter? Because they're coming. And this right here, how does he deal with this right now? The Shap obviously can help, but the Shap can't kill all 4 of them if Mr. Ghosty's just like, I'm killing it. And then from there, I mean, really, Mr. Ghosty doesn't realize how much he could just kill right now.
Yeah, he's in such a good spot. Blitzwar just zooming out. He barely has anything on the battlefield left. He has a Blackhawk going around down south. He's probably going to try to go for a CV spot. I just love for Ghosty just has all his models directly still just on the realigned road.
He just left them there. It's tea time for the Soviet Union. They do like tea there.
They do.
They're big on the tea. But
the
yeah,
LTM 2 is out in the open.
Yeah, but the Skrezit now, you're just going to slap this Blackhawk. Already taking it down, or at least stunning it. It's going to fall. Yeah, I don't see here how Blitzwar remotely gets back in this game. He made a really valiant effort to get it close, Rang, but he kind of culminated at some point there in Charlie. A bridge too far, I guess one could say. The loss of the Nighthawk was just massive for him, which typically is the case for American players. They lose that Nighthawk, and they just kind of lose the ability to indirectly affect their opponent, because you don't really see a lot of, long-range AoE like you see with the Soviets or some other decks.
Yeah, because the Nighthawk allows you every, 2 to 3 minutes or so, point at a unit and go, it's dead. And you can just do that every 2 to 3 minutes, and it's a very nice, satisfying feeling, but it allows you to deal with the most important enemy targets. Oh, Longbow coming in.
Yeah, so the Tor does die, which means there's some level of success there, but it's just infantry. The Longbow's not killing all that.
Honestly, as well, Ghosty was pretty damn smart here, just going for infantry and helicopter play, because he's pretty much denied those Longbows from being super effective. Because when you play Soviets, it's like, okay, which flavor of T-72 or T-80 super heavy tank are we going to get? And which one are we going to spend 2 hours arguing about on Discord about which one is better? But he didn't do that. He just ran infantry helicopters.
No, and that was really smart. I completely agree with you, because think about what the U.S. has in its toolbox, right? And it's very good at killing high value targets. Well, neutralize the high value targets on your own. Don't bring anything. I mean, the most expensive thing he's brought outside of a K-52 is a T-64 BV. So utilize the cheap, effective infantry, the nice APC and IFE options, leverage your better mobility. It's kind of funny that the Soviets have better mobility than the United States in the game. But yeah, it's just he's really played the deck, I think, excellent against a US player.
Yeah. I think we can take us to a ×2 at, let's do 450 game time.
450. We're going to the +2 on Blitzwar.
Because he's blitzing his loss.
Yes, he is. He is. Yeah. I mean, he's still game. He's trying. The problem is that, I mean, this KD-29 is going to land. It's going to be a +3. I guess Blitz is like in the team game mentality. He's like, I'm going. I ain't hear no bell.
I still got longbows and A10s on the field.
Right.
They can kill everything.
I mean, they get kind of close. The problem, what they can't kill is infantry. This isn't Warno where the A10 will just strafe your infantry squads into death.
Or the SU-25 during that run patch.
God, that game sucks.
Yeah, I know.
You know what's wild to me is that I think it's an open admission from them. We're going to get more SC2 divisions.
It's a safe bet. It's easy money.
But I feel like at what point do we just say Eugen's clearly just milking SD2 to support Warno? Like, I don't know how that's not a, like, how are we not taught, like, people, like, that are really acting, you know, not me for sure, I'm washed and out of the scene, but it's just, I don't know, it just kind of blows my mind that I don't think, especially a year and a half ago, we talked about, like, you know, when do we want to go to Warno, and we were like, let's wait and see, let's see how the game develops, and here we are in September of 2023, and I don't know if we'll be casting Warno in September of 2024.
I know, it's impressive, really. I think SC2 is going to outlast Warno is, right?
Yeah, it feels like it. It definitely, like, on the surface level, it feels like it. And I think Wargamer Dragon might outlast all of them.
Yeah, it's fucking immortal at this point.
Game will not die because you get hot content like we just casted, Rangru.
Yeah, and a hot match indeed. A 1200 KD. Just, it's so fun. Well, first off, casting review, but secondly, just seeing USSR action. It's like, you know, perfect, standard, you know, good old Coldwar fight. All the fancy tools, and we see both sides use their fancy tools pretty effectively. Just USSR has the better toolkit.
Yeah, and I think that something, you know, from watching the game, it really felt like Blitz could have maybe, I don't know, it just, the rapid helo attack into Charlie, he kind of anticipated it, right? Because he did have a DAP going that direction, but I think you need a cheap fighter up in front. And maybe if he opens with an F-15A instead of even the DAP, right? He kills the MLD, because it's going to annihilate the MLD most likely. Then maybe you have a DAP as well. Like, I think the longbow really hurt him. Like, not going to lie, I think if this was a team game, he would have been fine with the longbow opening. But in a 1v1, he also did the longbow in the opposite direction. I mean, that would have helped, right? But I think that actually, that 150 points might have decided the game, which is just crazy to think in a highly competitive 1v1.
Yeah, because especially also open up with the DAP, it's going to lose to the Ka-52. It's not a good investment against Soviets at all. Like, if you're fighting against Soviets, you know, bringing that helicopter to fight off air helicopters is, unless you're maybe like Japan with the ninjas, it doesn't work. No, and it's also like, why are planes like the MiG-21 BIS so good, right? Because, or the L-17K, you open with a cheap plane, use that to kill the Ka-52, and then if you have a helicopter, he can maybe clean up that damage. Because the odds are, you know, there's a high chance a Soviet player is airdropping into Charlie. You know, some decks it wouldn't be going to Shrelky, right? But something's going into that northern portion of Charlie, and it feels like instead of the longbow, either 2 DAPs, 3 DAPs, F-15 and a DAP, and I think Blitzwar perfectly counters that push, and then it's like, hey, now what does Mr. Ghosty go into when the airborne assault failed versus it succeeded perfectly and pretty much wins him the game. Yeah. Hot. Bloody good stuff here from Ghosty.
Also, Rang, somebody needs to play East Germany. Just throw it out there. Someone in the tournament.
Mech.
Well, I don't want to put the onus on just Mech. I always like to say that somebody needs to play the DDR.
Yeah, we need to see Motostreckley, BMP-1s, and that really cool Mi-24 of the R-16.
Motostreckley, not Motostreckley.
Oh, yes, sorry. My bad. I'll go and
Retiring right now.
No,
He's
no,
done.
no. I was gonna go and ask Stacy for forgiveness. So I'll give him a
Man,
phone call after this.
I don't know if they forgive.
Oh, they definitely don't forget.
Yeah, they definitely, they definitely don't forget.
And we'll leave it off here, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as usual, please just take it easy.